I don't have a magical recipe. I don't have a cookbook or a book of instructions that I can give you outside of the Word of God. Every relationship requires time, energy, and effort. If you're going to be successful in any relationship, those must be the primary ingredients that are deposited, those things that are sown into the relationship. This is a subject matter that's extremely dear to my heart. Having pastored and having counseled and dealt with the multitudes of people, I see the brokenness, I see the hurt, I see the frailty, I see the insecurity, I see the lack of love and compassion and understanding, acceptance and approval, which are all human traits. All of us have 5 basic needs. Everybody needs to be understood, loved and cared for, accepted, approved of, validated, all of that. None of us are exempt from those needs. Some people can perhaps handle it a tad bit better than others, but at the end of the day, all of us have the same needs. So when we look for relationships or the establishment of those relationships, how can you ensue something with someone if you cannot walk in agreement? Agreement means that you come to a resolve, what's best for us to do. For example, in the relationship with a husband and wife, if the husband wants to spend or the wife is the greater spender than the other, there has to be reach a compromise. You cannot aspire to your aspirations, your dreams, your hopes, if everybody's just going to keep spending. There has to come to a place where you begin to agree what's best to be done. The Spirit of the Lord speaks to me and says, open up 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14 and 18. It says, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? And what concord hath Christ with Baal? Or what part hath he that believeth with a infidel? What agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God. As God hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Wherefore, come out from among them, and be ye separated, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you, and I will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty. Let's kind of zero in on all of that. What does it mean to be unequally yoked? You cannot get to a place where you're walking in agreement if you're walking with someone that does not think like you, and you don't think like them. Unequally yoked means that you have a different mindset and you cannot come to a place of resolve. You cannot fully agree upon any particular principle or any structured fact. You cannot build a house with someone that does not know how to build it. You cannot construct a relationship with someone that does not want to have a relationship. You cannot come to a place of resolve, a place of kinship and fellowship, a place wherein you can come together and you can congeal, where you can become harmonious with someone that really doesn't want to walk with you, does not want to line up with you and walk with you and be supportive of you and lend into you and to give into you. What you're going to experience in life is that oftentimes you have more takers than you do givers. People can always come and they can be on the receptive end. But if you're going to formulate a relationship, there has to be balance. There has to be equality. Everybody cannot always receive all that they want, but they yet have to be able to give. And those who give have to also be able to understand that there are sometimes a certain capacity, compensity, wherein they can give. We cannot expect people to give what they don't possess. I've often said, oftentimes, to different congregations down through the years, you cannot expect a one-legged man or one-legged woman to run in a two-legged race. So when we talk about, again, coming into a place of agreement, you have to congeal with people. You have to align yourself with people that are walking, having the same aspirations as you do, the same desires, the same kind of driven passion to achieve whatever the common good or the common goal may be. So many times when I've counseled, did premarital counseling with people down through the years, God knows I've married thousands of people, been blessed to be able to do that. But many times I've been very candid. I've been noticed as being extremely candid. If my spirit of discernment kicks in and I make a recommendation to the couple that's sitting before me to say, well, are you really sure you want to get married? And I can pose it in such a way that it really makes them stop and think. Because primarily, as I advise all people, you may very well be able to afford the wedding day, but can you afford to be married? Can you handle the responsibilities of being married? Are you just simply getting married because of the fact that you're tired of being by yourself? You need somebody else to help you pay the bills. You can put two checks together and you can pay more bills than you can with one. So what's your primary purpose? What's your real goal for getting married? God is saying, because I'm God, I'm going to love you unconditionally. The only thing that I require of you is that you also love me unconditionally. The thing about agape love from God's perspective is that he can love us in spite of ourselves. He can love us whether we love him back or not. He doesn't love us with an expectation of us. He just simply loves us. In order to walk with God, you have to come into a place of agreement that you're willing to forsake your ways to assume the ways of God. You have to cast away your will, that the will of God be done in your life. It has to be agreed upon to do that. God spells out to us what his will is, and he shows us that our will is contrary to his. But if we're going to walk with him and allow him to be our God and we're going to be his people, then we have to be willing to forsake our ways to gain his ways, because his ways are greater than ours. He knows our end from our beginning. He knows precisely and primarily what is best for us. So if we engage him and engage him in faith and take hold and trusting what he says, knowing once again he's the creator of the ends of the universe. He created us. He foreknew us even before we were formed in the belly of our mother's wombs. He knew us. He knew all the things that we were going to encounter, the things that we were going to get entangled in. He knew all of that, but yet he's saying, I'm willing to accept you. If you place me and allow me to be placed in, allow me to place you in my hands, I'm going to mold you, I'm going to shape you, I'm going to fashion you, I'm going to grace you, I'm going to exemplify mercy. I'm going to build your life so that it becomes pleasing to me. But in the process of your willingness to yield it to me, I'm going to favor you. I'm going to bless you. I'm not going, if you walk upright before me, there's no good thing that I'm going to withhold from you. So he says in the 18th verse as we conclude this passage, and I will be a father unto you. Father means that I'm going to be your protector, your provider, and your preserver. I'm going to be the sole singular source of which you can come to in the time of trouble. I'll hide you in my pavilion. In the secret of my tabernacle, I'm going to hide you. I'm going to be your father. I'm going to be your overseer. I'm going to be your parent. I'm going to love you. I'm going to care for you. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to provide for you. And you shall be my sons and daughters. There is a responsibility. Again, we're talking about relationship here. We have to recognize God for who he is. He's descriptive. I'm the father. I'm the head. You're the son. There is a bond here that has to be established. There is a posture. There is a position wherein we formulate and understand who's doing what. The son is subject. The daughter is subject to the father, not the reverse. The son, the daughter must listen to the wisdom of the father. The daughter must listen to the wisdom of the father. She looks to him for guidance. The son looks for him for instructions. The son looks to be taught and to be mentored. The daughter looks to be nourished and loved and cared for. So this is what God is saying when he talks about relationships. So now, how do the relationships become tattered? How do they become dysfunctional? What's been the corporative behind that? What's been the instrument that has caused its demise? And you have to examine that. If you have any relationship that isn't working, you have to something to do with it not working. This destroys the experience, the love. The other person then gets hurt and gives back to you. Then you get more upset at the other person. Then the other person gets more defensive and becomes more upset at you. In other words, it works like this. You hurt me, I'm going to hurt you back. If you hurt me up here, I'm going to hurt you down there. I'm going to hit you below the belt, because the hurt that you perpetrated upon me, it offended me, it hurt me, it bruised me, it wounded me, it stagnated me, it had me almost unconscious. It drove me to tears. It perhaps broke my heart. That's why in any relationship, one has to be careful. I hear a lot of talk today about life and death is in the power of the tongue. And that's absolutely true. That is the absolute epitome of the truth of God's word. However, people say it but yet don't do it. Because they feel like if you say it to me, then you have to be man enough, you have to be big enough to accept what I've got to say to you. That's not real wisdom. Many times we say things because when we're hurt, there is an old cliche that simply says that hurt people hurt others. And that's very true. Every relationship, whether it's been good, bad, or ugly, carries with it some residue. So as you migrate, as you transition from one relationship to the other, you carry some of that. It's called baggage. All of us have baggage. Whether the relationship growing up at home was not as conducive, it was not as congenial, it was not as loving, there was some dysfunctionalism in it, and rest assured, every family in America has some dysfunctionalities within it. There is no family on the face of God's green earth that does not and has not and will not experience some dysfunctionality. There's going to be some disagreement. There is going to be an exhibit of some disobedience, some rebellion, some heartache, some pain, some ups, some downs, some good, some bad, all of that. But how one processes it, how one keeps that information stored within the continuity of their subconscious mind, it's called residue. It can be good, it can be bad, it's still residue. And so the subconscious mind remembers that, it stores it. So that's why sometimes when we go into other or transition into other relationships, we carry that residue, we carry that baggage. So what begins to happen as you begin to establish a relationship, you're looking for all of the right reasons to establish the relationship. You're looking to be able to congeal with someone. You're looking for someone that's going to fit your cup of tea, that fits your criteria.